Let's talk about something that makes everyone a little uncomfortable. Age. Now, in day-to-day life, age is just a number. You can be 40 and still play football on weekends. You can be 25 and complain about back pain, like you're 80. But when it comes to migrating to Australia under the skilled migration system, age isn't just a number. It's literally part of the point system that decides whether your dream of living in Australia gets a green light or a polite rejection. So, in this video, we're breaking down exactly how the age factor works in Australia's skilled migration points test, why it matters so much, and how it can completely change your strategy if you're thinking about applying. By the end, you'll know where you stand, what you can do if you're on the wrong side of the points, and whether age should even worry you in the first place. Let's get straight to it. The age points table. Australia's skilled migration points test works like a scoreboard where you need at least 65 points to be in the game. Though the higher your score, the stronger your chances. Age plays a huge role in this. If you're in your mid-20s to early 30s, you're in the sweet spot and pick up the maximum points. Younger applicants just starting out in adulthood also score well, while those in their 30s still stay competitive but see a slight drop. By the time you're in your 40s, the points fall sharply, and once you hit 45, the system doesn't give you anything at all. In other words, Australia's immigration rules politely shut the door and say, "Thanks, but no thanks." Now, at first glance, this looks brutal, but there's a logic behind it. Australia wants skilled migrants who will contribute for a long time, pay taxes, and fill skill shortages. Someone aged 25 or 30 potentially has decades of working life ahead. Someone who is 47 might still be at the peak of their career, but the government is already thinking about long-term return on investment. It's not personal, it's math. Why 25 to 32 is the golden age bracket. If you're between 25 and 32, congratulations, you've hit the jackpot. That's the sweet spot where you grab 30 points just for existing in that age range. You don't need extra effort, no exams, no tests, no experience, just your date of birth, doing all the work. To put this into perspective, 30 points for age is nearly half of the minimum 65 points needed to qualify. That's why younger applicants have such a massive advantage. It's like playing a football match, where you already start with 3 goals on the scoreboard before the whistle even blows. So, if you're in that golden bracket, your job is simple. Don't waste time. Every year you wait, your age points risk dropping. You can be 32 today with 30 points, and suddenly at 33, you're down to 25. That's a 5-point drop overnight, which could be the difference between getting an invitation or being left waiting forever. The harsh cutoff at 45. Let's address the elephant in the room, turning 45. Once you hit this number, you get 0 points for age, and for most skilled visas, like the subclass 189 or 190, you actually become ineligible once you're over 45. The government simply won't invite you anymore under the skilled migration stream. That sounds harsh, but again, it's about long-term contribution. Australia wants migrants who can work for at least 15 to 20 years before retirement age, and if you're already close to that threshold, the government prefers younger candidates. Now, this doesn't mean all hope is lost if you're over 45. There are other visas. Employer-sponsored visas, business visas, national innovation visa. But the general skilled migration points test closes its doors. That's why timing is everything. Timing is more important than you think. Imagine this scenario. You're 32 and thinking, I'll wait a few years, save more money, and apply at 35. But here's what actually happens. At 32, you had 30 points for age. By 35, you're down to 25 points. That's a 5-point drop. To make up for that, you'll need to improve your English score, gain more work experience, or hope for state nomination. In other words, every year of delay comes with a cost. And if you're already in your late 30s, the drop in points feels even sharper. That's why age is the one factor you can't control. You can study harder for English, you can gain work experience, you can look for state sponsorship, but you can't stop time. So, the lesson here is simple. If you're eligible and serious about migration, don't procrastinate. Because in this system, waiting literally makes you less competitive. Balancing age with other points. Let's get practical. What can you actually do if your age isn't giving you the maximum points? Here are a few realistic strategies. Scoring superior English can actually earn you a solid 20 points, which is more than the difference between some age brackets. That's why exams like IELTS or PTE are worth your focus. And while age might not always work in your favor, years of skilled work experience often do, especially if you're in your mid-30s or 40s, since that can also bring in up to 20 points. On top of that, a state nomination can boost your score significantly if your occupation is in demand, adding another 5 to 15 points. If your partner has skills and strong English, you can grab an extra 5 points there too. Even completing an Australian qualification can give you a small but useful push. So yes, age plays a role, but it's far from the only piece of the puzzle. Common myths about age and migration. Now let's clear up a few myths. 1. If you're over 40, you can't migrate. Not true. You can still apply up to age 44 for skilled visas, and other visa categories exist beyond that. 2. If you're young, you're guaranteed a visa. Also not true. Age gives you points, but you still need the skills, English and occupation in demand. A 26-year-old with no experience and low English won't get very far. 3. Waiting until you're older gives you an advantage because you'll have more work experience. Half true. Yes, experience adds points, but you're also losing points for age at the same time. It's a race where one side is gaining while the other is losing. At the end of the day, age is a double-edged sword in Australia's skilled migration system. If you're young, you get points easily, but may lack experience. If you're older, you lose age points but can balance with experience, education, and other factors. The worst mistake people make is waiting. Because unlike English or skills, which you can improve, age only moves in one direction. The system rewards those who act when they're eligible, rather than those who delay. So, if you're in the prime age bracket, this is your call to action. If you're outside that bracket, it's about smart strategy. And if you're already 45 or above, don't give up. Explore alternative visas. Australia's door isn't locked. You just need a different key. Why the system rewards youth. Why the system rewards youth comes down to simple practicality rather than discrimination. Younger migrants are viewed as long-term taxpayers who can support the economy for decades. They're considered more adaptable when it comes to moving, retraining, and settling into a new environment. They generally cost less in healthcare and are seen as future builders, more likely to start families that help balance Australia's aging population. Australia's skilled migration program is built on a points test, and age is one of the biggest factors in that test. It's not something you can control, but it's something you can plan around. The system is like a game of chess. Age is one of the pieces. Sometimes it's your strongest piece. Sometimes it's weaker, but you can still win the game if you play smart with the rest of your pieces.